Hello and welcome back to the final presentation of the MBB Research Healthcare Conference today. Up next, we are pleased to welcome SYNBIOTIC, presented by CEO Daniel Kruse, and he is joined today by Mr. Hirschauer and Mr. Kendall. They all will walk us through the presentation. Before we begin, just a quick housekeeping note. The session is being recorded and all participants are in a listen-only mode. So if you have any question, please submit them via the chat box and we will address them during the Q&A session later on. And with that, let's get started. Gentlemen, the stage is yours.
Thank you, Harald, and thank to everyone for joining us today. I will give the floor to my colleagues of our management team later, but it's my pleasure and honor to start our presentation with some of the remarks that are listed here. Who we are a European holding company and publicly listed in Düsseldorf at the German stock market. We do offer our investors to be part of the growing cannabis and hemp market that we have in Germany, but also in Europe. And we always try to create profitable synergies in the entire value chain and in our company groups. This is the statement that I gave in 2024 when the market basically completely changed due to the partial legalization of cannabis. And I do still believe in this statement that we are in the beginning of a new great cannabis and hemp era. And for you, dear investors or potential investors, it's very important to understand that we are working as a platform. We are not one company having the same brand, the same product, or the same market channel, but we are looking for different companies from the two main sectors, medical cannabis and industrial hemp, to then diversify also not only the markets and the growth markets that we are investing in, but also to manage the risk for you. In very short numbers, this is SYNBIOTIC, right now about 50 employees in total, and revenue 2025, 26 million euro, 12 ventures, 15,000 single shareholders, and more than 33,000 active customers of our ventures. And I would like my colleague, Patrick, to take the floor and to give you some information on our ventures.
Thank you, Daniel. Hello, also from my side. My name is Patrick Hirschauer. I'm working for SYNBIOTIC since 2020, and I'm within the cannabis industry for more than 8 years now. I'm part of the SYNBIOTIC management team responsible for business development and project management. And now it is a great pleasure for me to give you some deeper insights on the relevant business sectors SYNBIOTIC is operating in. What makes SYNBIOTIC special compared to other market players? This is for sure, as you can see here on the slide, our diversified portfolio of 12 operating companies covering the whole value chain from cultivation over R&D and production to sales and distribution. Moreover, SYNBIOTIC operates in both the medical cannabis sector and the industrial hemp sector, what is definitely unique in the European market. For those of you who are not that familiar with cannabis and hemp, medical cannabis means cannabis with THC applied and subscribed by doctors for medical purpose. And with the industrial hemp sector, we mean cannabis sativa with low THC, meaning that it's not making you high, for industrial use like fibers, textiles, and CBD products. The current turnover share you can see on the right side of this slide of SYNBIOTIC is 80% medical cannabis. It's 60% medical cannabis and 40% industrial hemp. So now let's have a deeper look to the medical cannabis market in Germany. Germany shapes the future of medical cannabis in Europe. As you might probably know, medical cannabis is fully legalized in Germany since 2024. Experts and researchers expect therefore a market growth with a CAGR of plus 14%, more than tripling the market volume in Germany for the next 10 years for medical cannabis. We at SYNBIOTIC already see this growth in our medical cannabis companies like Vico Pharmaceutical. Germany is therefore taking a pioneering role in cannabis legalization, and other European countries will follow for sure. On this slide, Europe's medical cannabis market is opening up. On the left-hand side here, you can see the current legalization status for medical cannabis on a country level. And you see there is still huge growth potential when other European countries follow the German legalization. An increasing numbers of countries are legalizing medical cannabis, opening up new regulated sales channels. And we are sure that Europe is becoming the world's largest import region for medical cannabis, with a strong need for quality and supply reliability. My colleague Lucas Kendall will present you how SYNBIOTIC Ventures, our companies, are capitalizing and innovating the medical cannabis market later on in this presentation. Coming from the medical cannabis sector to the second important pillar of SYNBIOTIC, the industrial hemp sector. This market is even bigger and expected to grow up to a volume of $17 billion globally until 2030. In terms of legislation, SYNBIOTIC is perfectly positioned for the removal of the misuse clause of industrial hemp in Germany. Additionally, the approval of novel food for CBD extracts will give this market another boost in the next years, which we will profit of. Hemp is also a major source for securing the global food supply. As you can see in this chart on the left, the hemp-based food and feed markets are also expected to grow with two-digit growth rates by market experts for the next years. Hemp is a vegetable source for protein, essential fatty acids, and fiber, and it is seen as the most suitable alternative to conventional feed. Hemp will then definitely become a regular commodity for global food and feed market. How does SYNBIOTIC, how do we position ourselves in these markets? We at SYNBIOTIC put a strong focus on the fast-growing medical cannabis market segment, backed with regulatory momentum and increasing patient access. In the medical market, we are targeting both, so the prescription-based therapeutics and as well the emerging OTC products. Due to our diversified market approach, as I already explained to you, SYNBIOTIC has a broad positioning across the industrial hemp value chain too. So we will be here first movers in a scalable consumer-ready segment. SYNBIOTIC and its ventures follow an innovation-driven market access. So this brings me to the end of my part of the presentation, and now I will give over the word to my colleague Lucas, who will present you our ventures and their competitive edge and innovations.
Thank you very much, Patrick. Thank you for your view on the market and our positioning there. As a project manager and a synergy manager at the management board of SYNBIOTIC, I'm proud to present you our part with our ventures and what they are doing and what is necessary for us to keep the position my colleague Patrick was presenting. In the medical cannabis sector, we will soon see two outstanding examples for that. There we have two ventures. We're bringing cannabinoids pastil and adrenochrome sine, which is completely preservative-free, to the marketed readiness. These two products will be first of their kind and will be definitely impacting the European medical market. Furthermore, we're constantly working in the background to solve existing problems of the industry, like the general supply of GMP cannabis flowers that are not even closely met the market needs. For that, we invested in GOC Nexus. They are treating not sellable cannabis flowers with their patented cold plasma technology. So with any loss, we receive at the lowest possible costs and the highest supply security, high quality GMP flowers. So we don't have to worry about any supply matters by the end of this year, which is a game changer, especially for our wholesaler, for example, Rico Pharma. Due to the 100% security of supply, they can accept several exclusive supply licenses to some opening up countries like Poland, which is a long-term guarantee for specific market shares on that area. In between these markets of the medical cannabis sector and the industrial hemp sector, there's the venture MH Medical Hemp. They have the necessary license to go full medical cannabis, but also has a strong B2B customer base for high quality and more pharmaceutical and health-driven derivatives of industrial hemp, like CBD oil or CBD cosmetic. They are also the main force in our company to highly profitable from a novel food registration, and that's why we're actively pushing the application forward. Hempro International, on the other hand, is totally focusing on industrial hemp and tackling the huge markets for food and feed supply, especially the healthy and environmental friendly supply with high quality protein will follow grant demand of the next few years of vegan food and feed alternatives. The whole processing can be done in-house at minimum costs and maximal flexibility, backed with the highest feed and food standards like GMP Plus or FFC 22,000. Finally, I would like to introduce the outstanding representative of their kind, who have been on the market with their products for many years, enjoying high level of trust and perfect in-house supply for all white label CBD products. So Solid Mind Group, acting since 8 years now on the German and close European market with their wide range of high quality CBD products and the trust from over 300,000 customers in the last 8 years. And on the other hand, we have Illiso with their pharma-grade bulk and white label expertise, especially known in the Eastern Europe, being a grant for successful competitive pricing strategies we will roll out. To sum that up, we as Symbiotic can offer a well-selected portfolio of promising unique selling points, leading to a tripling revenue growth of nearly 50 million by 2027. A target profitability by the end of this year, backed by scalable and integrating structures so that we can fire up and serve constantly growing medical industrial markets. And all that with the certainty that we cover important future markets, being at the same time most environmental friendly for all that solutions. All that leads to a very interesting forecast for the next years, which Daniel will now explain in more detail to you.
Thank you, Lucas. Thank you, Patrick. Excellent. As you already heard, we have a couple of revenue drivers in our portfolio. And now from another side, the time frame side or timeline side, I would like to get back to this and explain a little bit further. So right now, and also in our opinion for the long term, medical cannabis will be one of the main revenue drivers of our holding. But as you have already learned from Lucas, there is already another very big market to tap in, and that's the hemp-based food ingredients market. As actually it's food and feed, both markets, they have been already bigger. Now they are coming back, and as you have seen already, there is a 300 to 400% increase in demand on the hemp food ingredient side right now. There have been some hassles and challenges in the world, as you have probably noticed in the last years, COVID, pandemic, Ukraine war, and now there are more places of the world where it's fighting. So the food market in general, especially the organic food market, has been had its challenges itself, and hemp was also a part of that. But the strong increase starting in the beginning of this year has definitely a huge potential now for the upcoming years and decades. On midterm side, we do have, as Lucas already mentioned, the new cannabis dosage forms, which, as an example, already stated, is the pastil, the THC pastil, but also, of course, the new invented dronabinol. And then, additionally to all that, coming also again from the industrial hemp side, we do have the triple use of the hemp plant that can not only tap into the food and feed market, but also we have a carbon neutral construction material. In numbers, we will try our best to be consolidated profitable in this year, but as you can imagine, it's kind of a crystal ball to know exactly how the next month will work out regarding supply chain and having enough material on all those venture level to sell. But definitely in 2026, we'll reach the profitability just by very conservative approach on the numbers when it comes to the combination of medical cannabis and industrial hemp. In an overview here, you have our key financial facts again. Then please focus on the planning for our EBITDA plus 10%. Also, this is conservative. We are not like US companies stating something even higher and then not bringing it in the future. So we try to be very conservative, but this is definitely something that we will aim for. And there are, of course, independent analysts and researchers that we work with, and they have already 3 reports, including one update of a report out there. You can find them on our website. But before we come to an end, I would like to share with you some information on our stocks and, of course, also some capital market measures that we will proceed now with in July, latest beginning of August, planning a cash capital increase. First of all, please note that we are IFRS audited, and we have 15,000 single shareholders. So a huge platform for everything that we are going to achieve now in the near future with our stock price. By the way, I'm sure the question will come either in the chat or later by email. Why is the stock price so low and so much down also with other European-based or even Canadian-based cannabis companies? Well, in our case, and that is for all the German stock-listed companies in this sector, is because of the change of government, and all this has the media and, of course, you as investors have to feel secure again that also our new government will not change anything regarding the medical cannabis or the industrial hemp market. Industrial hemp could have had already a new status if the old coalition would have been still in place. We already had this Nutzhanf-Liberalisierungsgesetz, the Industrial Hemp Liberalization Act, already in place. It was already through the Bundesrat. Myself, I had the pleasure to work on this act before, but then, of course, due to the new elections and the change of government, it was delayed. But we are still very sure that it will come, if not this year, then next year. And it will help the industrial hemp market and all its products tremendously. Please also note that we have currently a PIPE program that is based on convertible bonds, which are getting exchanged every now and then against stocks, and these stocks get sold. Be assured in that moment that we have achieved our cash capital increase in the next couple of weeks, we as Symbiotic are always in the position to pause or even to end this PIPE program. So that will also, of course, have a positive effect on the stock price development. And obviously, again, together with our analyst, we expect a lot higher market cap in the very near future. The cap table, by the way, you can see here at the bottom. And it's, I think, very important for you to understand that there are only very few main shareholders that have more than 5%. And we are very excited and very proud that we have such a strong free float portion of our stocks. Last but not least, please see our leadership team here. 3 of these gentlemen you have seen today. And with this, I do invite you to reach out to us with the email address that you see here, or to the team of MVB. They will definitely forward your request to us. And with this, I thank the team of MVB and, of course, all of you for your attention. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, gentlemen, for the insight you've provided. And I would directly dive in, as we've a couple of questions already. And I would like to start with the governmental plans. The new government in Germany, what are the plans regarding cannabis regulation in Germany? Do you have any further insights?
I will start, and maybe then Lucas or Patrick, if you have something to add, always jump in. From everything we know, and obviously we are very well connected, not only in our industry, but also through our lobby associations. We're well connected to Berlin or Bonn, depending on what kind of ministry is in charge. From everything that we hear and see, there will be no bigger changes. So medical cannabis will stay legal. Maybe they are going to restrict the telemedicine part a little bit. There are some talks that you will have to go to the doctor for your first prescription, and then later on you can use the more modern platform on your mobile, the apps, to get further recipes then to get your new medical cannabis. But that will be smaller changes. And for industrial hemp, as I explained, the chances are even bigger that there will be even bigger potential, because we do not even have the Industrial Hemp Legalization Act yet. It's still to come. Thank you.
One thing I can add from my side is that the government announced like a reassessment or re-evaluation of the existing cannabis law in October 2025. But this re-evaluation will not ban or go back from what it is now. It will rather be, will you keep like 300 meters distance from a kindergarten smoking a joint, or is it a kilometer or something? So it will be rather just a little re-evaluation, but it will not change completely. That is important to know.
Exactly.
Okay.
Harald, I just took the liberty to go back to page 15 to answer Mr. Zagrin's question regarding the growth areas. These are the growth areas or the revenue drivers by a time structure, and I think we also have some growth, some information on the growth potential here on this page. So maybe I just go back and forth, so then Mr. Zagrin can read it again. But also, again, please just ask MBB or us directly for the presentation. We are very happy to share it.
Sure. Another question which came up is the recreational cannabis. How large is the recreational cannabis market, the so-called Freizeitmarkt, versus the medical cannabis market? And what are the different margins you earn in both? I would like to go back. The recreational cannabis market has been calculated really large, but since the regulation has been a kind of not so liberal as expected in advance, maybe there's a newer calculation how big this market could be and which role it will have in your future?
I can just point out the interesting opinion we just heard at a fair last time, where someone says, okay, the recreational market will be always 80% of the full market, and the Medcan just 20. And now we have the interesting situation in Germany that we know that a lot of customers or patients of the medical market are also just maybe recreational users. So for
Okay.
the recreational consume. And that's why we don't know at the moment how big is which share, but both shares growing because the acceptance of the recreational use will grow, but also more and more patients and doctors and the medicine will use the pharmaceutical part. So in the end, the recreational will be always bigger, but also both are growing, and at the moment we're not really knowing how much percent is which one. So that's the interesting part of the German market, but for Canada example, it's 80-20.
Okay. Thanks a lot for this kind of explanation. Regarding the margins, do you display margin contribution from this part? I mean, the recreational cannabis does not really play a huge role at SYNBIOTIC as far as I know. So it's more talking about medical cannabis, medical cannabis, sorry.
It's also a bit different to like at the recreational part, you always have these two areas. Like some just want to have cheap cannabis, and the other one want to try completely new special sorts of cannabis. So they will be completely different with their pricing. And also in the Medcan part, at the moment we have a low base, but I think with genetics will develop, we will have different price points. So in the end, I think you can in both areas you have big margins and also low margins. But in the end, at the moment, we cannot say exactly which tendency it goes in which area.
Okay, thanks. Speaking of sorting, what are the countries you import the flowers from, and how do you distribute?
Shall I also answer? Like we have like different countries, for example, like Spain, Netherlands, of course, and where we importing, but there are more, of course. Like for example, we are also in position to import from Thailand, for example, as soon as it's possible. But so like we try to get as much as variety in our portfolio as we can get, but always at the highest quality and best price. But at the moment, most is Canada, Spain, Netherlands, of course, like the normal big players. And what was the other part?
The distribution. The
Okay.
sourcing
So,
was
but
one part, and the other part is the distribution.
But therefore, we definitely go with Vico Pharma as a wholesaler. I'm not sure what exactly is meant by this question, but like we do the normal pharma sale.
So you've got a wholesaler who is distributing the cannabis to pharmacies, and then it's sold to patients.
And maybe to add, if the question is meant in the way of distribution channels or distribution countries, Vico Pharma is very strong, obviously, in Germany, has customers in Switzerland. Customers are now coming up in France with their new regulatory framework, and as Lucas already mentioned, in Poland. So again, Europe is following Germany and getting more and more liberal regarding the medical cannabis market.
Nice. There are some questions regarding the competitive landscape you are facing from different kind of perspectives, from the product side, but also from entering from larger players. So, what makes Symbiotic defensible against better capitalized and capitalized competitors like Cantourage or also Aurora? So you can compete with them.
Well, I might start, and then Patrick and Lucas can add. First of all, Aurora, of course, has a lot of cash from the Canadian stock market. That is well known, but they also have had quite a burn rate in the last decade. We are in very good connection to Aurora, by the way. There is a good cooperation between Rico Pharma and Aurora. So they are not competitors to us, but rather partners. And Cantourage is also, like most other market players in Germany, doing a great job. Focusing on medical cannabis for the last years has definitely paid out for them. Well, from the investor side, if you invest in our stock, you have the higher hockey stick potential, because we are just now as Symbiotic in the medical cannabis market with Rico as a strong flagship since last year, and with MH Medical Hemp since 8 years, but definitely using Rico as the main platform, as the flagship for the medical cannabis market, and MH is more in the background doing the logistics and the story. So the potential is there for Symbiotic to follow others that have already more years of the distribution of this product into this sector, and in the other way, the market is still so big and will be even bigger that there is enough room to maneuver for all these market players.
Thanks. You've mentioned Cantourage already, as that was part of the question, and I know that Cantourage has released some good news flow recently, so it's quite understandable that we see a question regarding this topic compared to Cantourage. How does your Metcan develop?
Smaller, but with a higher hockey stick potential.
Good. We've got 3 questions more, and with regard to the time, actually, we are getting to an end. But as we are the last presentation today, I would continue if it's okay for you, so we can answer all the questions. A question regarding the hemp food. What differentiates your hemp food offering compared to already established players in Germany, which are in the retail business?
Well, I guess this is also one question to me, because I'm also the founder of Hemp International and Hemp Factory. If I understand the question correctly, then it's also a comparison between us and other hemp food producers. You can be assured that both together, Hemp International from the distribution side and Hemp Factory from the production side of things, are very well positioned compared to our dear competitors, if you want, or market players. Most of them are even partners. We help each other and try to build up this huge market together. So both companies, Hempro International and Hemp Factory, are on the market for either 12 years Hemp Factory or 22 years Hemp International, and again have all the potential or have the right availability and capability to take all the potential that is coming from the market now. And I mean, and then there was a question on the strategic partnerships, Harald. Maybe we can go to that before the time is running out. I think that Mr. Tim is asking regarding the GOC nexus called plasma technology. And this is something where Lucas can probably take the floor.
Yeah, sure. As I mentioned, like the partnership to GOC Nexus is quite nice because like we didn't owe them at the moment. We really doing a partnership, which means we help them to set up their factory and everything, and give them also the security that they have a direct customer for all the products they produce. And the thing that GOC Nexus is doing is quite nice. As I mentioned, it's solving a problem of the industry because like all the time we have the lack of supply somewhere where we don't need it, and that harms everyone, and that harms the connection to the pharmacies, that harms the connection to the customers, and it's always a bummer to have a lack in supply. And here with GOC Nexus we have that wonderful idea that we can use all the GMP flowers which are not suitable for the market, and yeah, restore it to a GMP level, which makes it high quality flowers. And after that, we can use it for everything we need. And that's a great partnership because we see that we really want to work together and really try to find solutions where we can help each other. So that's a real example for a partnership. And of course, I think if it's going on like that, probably we getting together in some way somewhere. Yeah, I hope
Uh,
that answers the question.
I guess so. It does. Speaking about partnerships, M&A, buy and build strategy. In which area do you have a focus when it's coming to new targets for the growth strategy? Which is the focus? Is it therapeutic? Is it a geographic area, or potentially some synergies you can yeah, get with a further acquisition?
Well, first of all, I would point out that the main focus now will be on build. We have already grown in the numbers of ventures a lot in the last 2 years. So main focus will be built inside our group, but add very interesting corporations, as Lucas just explained regarding GOC, to our network. But on the other side, obviously, geographic reasons or geographic focus could come very soon if France and Poland are developing as they are right now. And because in general, our buy and build strategy is definitely not only focused on Germany, but on all Europe, especially for investors from overseas. It could be that there is, maybe not this year, but beginning of next year or first half of 2026, that we are including one of those or two of those countries. Some research is already running into our buy and build strategy, just to be a little more European by then.
Sounds
I
like a
would,
great.
yeah.
Please.
I would just add that on the holding structure, we can say we go for the European focus, but all the ventures, for example, have different things like the therapeutical use, and so they are focusing on that. But we can that's the nice thing about having a holding, that we can tackle different strategies and communicate them in different ways, and so we have both or more than one focus on that. Yes.
Yeah, perfect. As far as I can see, there are no further questions. So we have answered all of them. And with that, actually, I would say thank you, gentlemen, for joining us today. And with this, we conclude today's conference, the MBB Research Healthcare Conference. And thank you all for joining us and for your interest in hearing from key players and have a deeper insight in the healthcare sector. And on behalf of the entire MBB research team, I'd like to thank you once again for being with us today. And I wish you a pleasant afternoon and looking forward to see you again at one of our upcoming events. But for some final remarks, I would like to hand it over to you, Mr. Kruse, again.
Well, thank you, Harald. Definitely also from our side, it's always a pleasure to be part of your conferences or your road shows. So thank you, and thanks to my team. I hope that we have given you a good overview about our plans and our development. And again, I repeat myself, please reach out to MBB Research and or directly to us to get the presentation or to ask more questions.
Thank you, Daniel.
Thank you.